Hi, everybody. It is August. Is it the 18th? No, the 17th. Well, I just posted these two little clips that I had posted 2015 on Never Lose Truth, and I forgot to write in the title. I just carried the title that I had years ago. Forgot to write in the title that, of course, the USA and many nations have scalar technology that they are using as weapons. So, it's interesting to me also. I get this comment: the Challenger crash was a staged event. The Russians are not the enemy. This guy sounds like a kook. And then somebody else leaving a comment saying that I'm like CNN now. All right. Understand this. The Russians were far advanced in the scalar technology, in the use of electromagnetic frequencies as a weapon, mind control, than the United States. Now, I believe, either we've advanced them or we're on par. But for anybody to think that the Russians are not the enemy, I think that you have been, there's a very subtle manipulation that goes on. When you have mainstream media, and we know certainly CNN is CIA, and they are 24/7 repeating, it's the Russians, it's the Russians, it's the Russians. You get Americans to believe, who understand that mainstream media lies all the time, that the Russians are not the enemy. All countries, all governments are the enemy of the people today. Now, there was also Tom Bearden, who said that the Challenger, was it Flight 800 off Long Island? Long Island, listen to me, like I'm back there. The sudden crash of flight, I think it was 800, but this was years and years ago. Tom Bearden said that it was the Russians that were using the scalar technology. Now, we don't know. We do not know. These weapons are invisible until they destruct, and we see the destruction. The weather used as a weapon, and the crazy behaviors of Americans, that, yes, extremely low frequencies they can use against individuals, they can use against regions, they can use against whole populations to mind control them. And anyone who is rolling their eyes at this point in 2021 is a fool, a dangerous fool. They're ignorant, and their mind, they have just given over to, government officials and mainstream media. It is so easy to believe liars than it is to seek out the truth. And there's a lot of lazy people in the world. So, of course, we also have the technology. Now, and I also had this on Never Lose Truth and Kafka Winston World. Look, when channels get terminated, it's really hard to point to the evidence that you have. But the use of electromagnetic frequencies, the use of scalar technology, was actually proven with the Challenger, because they literally could trace the electromagnetic frequencies coming from a certain point. And I also had on Never Lose Truth the U.S. military using this technology to create earthquakes and these simulated meteors that were suddenly appearing in Perth, Australia, the booms that people were hearing, and they traced it back to Maine, the extremely low frequency military site, the facility in Cutler, Maine. Okay, so, you know what? When you say the Russians are not the enemy, and you just sound like CNN now, you prove to me you don't have a working brain and you need to step it up or something. Yes, I have lost patience. So we've got a lot going on. Look at this. This is so unbelievable. Parents, you've got to pull your kids out of school somehow. You've got to connect with other parents in your community. You've got to homeschool them. You've got to get them out of these institutions, because what they are doing to your children, this is abuse. Look at what's happened. This was L.A., Los Angeles schools.
And take a look at this line. Now, these kids have to show a proof of negative COVID actually to get into the school. Long line out here, but apparently this is just one of many schools that are having this situation this morning. Now, these kids, like I said, they have to show proof of a negative test, actually, before they get into the school today. This line, almost around the block. Hope these kids get to class on time.
Sky 2 was just over John Marshall High School in Los Feliz moments ago. As you can see, a long line that even goes around the block just to get into school. Under LAUSD's COVID protocols, all students and staff will have to mask up and face weekly COVID testing. Look how far that line goes. Sky 2 also saw long lines around LA High School in the mid-Wil.
Have a question for the school board. I'm wondering, this is my classroom. I have a rather large classroom compared to the other classrooms in our building, but I have 28 desks in here right now. If we go back 5 days a week, I'll have 30 or 32 with the kids coming back from virtual. This is the middle seat of the back row of my classroom. This is their view of the board. When we ordered this $5 million worth of plexiglass, we have a classroom of 28 desks set up to where school board members could sit in them and see what this was really going to be like. Because I'm still trying to figure out how, in between my classes, am I supposed to disinfect, how I'm supposed to hear my students when they're in the back of the room wearing a mask behind all this plexiglass.
You little dink.
Okay.
I don't want to get sick and die.
Okay.
There's other people you can infect just because you're vaccinated. You know what? You're not a special person around here. You should hear about how everybody talks about you. You're a jerk.
Talk to me. I don't care how people
You're
talk
a
about
jerk.
me. Okay.
And you need to have respect for other people in your life.
I do.
You're not a big man on campus walking around here like you have a stick up your butt. People don't like you. I don't like you.
People like me.
They're pretending.
In a few years, look at me and then you'll be like, oh, hey, darn, I was wrong about him.
No, in a few years I know exactly where you're going to be, because people with your attitude don't get very far.
I think I'm pretty
You
good
treat people like crap.
You know what? Adults, man. Oh, so unbelievably abusive. This is what we are doing to children, okay? And yeah, the manifestation of this comes from the people. It comes from the people consenting to this kind of behavior. Now, I believe that this woman was fired. This whole thing, this line, you've got to show that you've been tested and you haven't been found positive. This is what we're doing now. These videos were from last year. We are flipping nuts. Okay? We have psychological problems, and this country and a whole lot of countries, okay, the well-adjusted to a I can't even remember. My God, memory lapse. The well-adjusted are not well-adjusted. The well-adjusted to a deeply disturbed society, thank you, brain, are not well-adjusted. They are deeply, deeply disturbed people. They need to do work on themselves to become better people in the world. And if they don't, this is what they do. They pass on. They fling about their issues, and then they pass it on and abuse other people with it. And you keep doing this to children, they become that adult. Easy, simple, and nobody seems to want to work on themselves. A few, maybe, out there. Dueling vaccine rallies. Anti-vaxxers and pro-vaxxers get into fistfights.
Again, big scenes of violence out here earlier today. Again, this really is an emotional topic for so many. We are seeing this protest again start to break up. A lot of people are lingering around this area now, and a lot of them also told us they will continue holding demonstrations like this until they feel like their voices are heard.
I don't know, because that was posted on the 14th. Is that right? Yeah, the 14th. And I saw this also on the 14th. Antifa in Los Angeles. Okay, an anti-mask rally. This, I think, was the same thing.
You all right?
Unmask them all!
Proven so exceptional. Okay. Antifa just shows up and starts violence all over the place. Mainstream media is calling this an anti-vax and a pro-vax. Don't think so.
Hey, you don't even know what happened. Shade. Get some shade. Give the man some shade, please.
Stay back a bit.
Back up!
I think this one was the film that they showed on the mainstream media. But they beat the hell out of each other. Ambulances arrive, take people to the hospital. Yeah, and this is our country. Now, we do have electromagnetic frequencies that they can employ and target people and create this kind of violence. So, what we are looking at in the next couple of weeks, towards the end of 2021, and your best defense against these weapons are knowing who you are. That means that the person has to do that work self-reflect, do some self-observation, learn from your experience, understand who you are, understand what you stand for, and stand for it. And most people don't know who they are. And I can hear people now, listen to her. I know who I am. You probably don't. Well, COVID, okay. The results of 7 weeks of lockdown in Sydney is this. Doesn't that seem a little odd? They implement lockdowns. They have the military and police enforcing it. And man, your cases are just rising and rising and rising. Doesn't seem like lockdown works. New Zealand?
And made the decision that New Zealand will move to alert level 4 from 11:59 p.m. tonight. Level 4 will be for an initial period of 3 days, except for Auckland and the Coromandel Peninsula, who we anticipate will likely be at level 4 for 7 days, due to them being most closely linked to our current case. Over this time, we will be looking for testing results from people from locations of interest, wastewater testing, and general community testing of those with cold and flu symptoms elsewhere in the country.
Wastewater? Did you hear what she said? A case. One. And locking down from one. And it doesn't even mean that the person has anything. There's false positives as well as asymptomatic. Doesn't mean you are transmitting anything. Lock it down. This is what these people are doing. Why are they doing it? How? How'd they get the power to do this? The authority to do this? From the people who have allowed it. 5,000 plus students in quarantine. Florida.
Hillsborough County tonight, where thousands of students and teachers, hundreds of teachers are quarantined due to the COVID-19 outbreak. The school board now planning an emergency meeting on Wednesday to discuss some sort of a mitigation effort. Fox 13's Aaron Mesmer has been live today at district headquarters for us, checking on things. Aaron, this puts them in a tough spot. Board members, what are they saying about this tonight? What can they do?
But that's the question, right, Mark? They are extremely concerned about this situation, and that's why they called this meeting. I mean, they knew that this school year would probably get off to a challenging start, but at least one board member says she didn't expect it to be this bad.
Can't listen to that board member. All right. All they have to do is lie. That's it. You cannot escape liars. They will destroy you. You give them the power, and they will destroy you. They have no limit. And they will create a whole lot of drama while they're doing it. So, not holding people accountable was a really bad plan. A really bad plan that was executed. I can't hold people accountable because I'm too afraid people will disapprove of me. Well, this is where we are now. And they can throw out any bullshit. Americans will eat it up. And even those who know that it's not true, they won't do a friggin' thing. Now, I am not talking about every American. This is the guy, Florida Education Association president. Our main job is to protect the safety of children. Oh, well, you have not done a very good job. Considering the curriculum, certainly since Common Core, we have a mentally ill society. It's happening everywhere. We live in a psychiatric institution. Thousands of counterfeit COVID-19 vaccination cards from China seized in Tennessee. It's clear. Manufacturing is dead in our country. We can't even manufacture fake vaccination cards. We've got to get them from China. And, of course, we've got our latest hypocrite, New Jersey Governor Phil Murphy, jets to his mansion in Italy despite Delta variant surge. Despite, on Thursday, the State Department urged Americans to reconsider travel to Italy due to COVID-19. But if you are part of the elite, not the super elite, but the elite, you're a puppet of those behind, the curtain who are pulling the strings of these people. You get to do whatever the hell you want to do, but you enforce policies to control your constituents. This is what's happening. And because Americans are just dead asleep, they get to destroy our lives. The latest Democrat to embrace the do as I say, not as I do lifestyle. 23-room mansion in Umbria, which both his state and the European nation battle outbreaks of the Delta variant. You going to quarantine when you come back to New Jersey? It's sickening to watch this because it's so in our face now. What's sickening is to see Americans not do a flippin' thing. They have been so demoralized, degraded to the point where it's like they have Stockholm syndrome and they listen to their abuser, they obey their abuser, while their abuser goes about living a fabulous life. This is what Murphy said. After this past 17 months, just having a few days together is something that I think all of us want to do with our family, and I'm looking forward to that. During a coronavirus briefing. While Rome is burning here in New Jersey, Murphy is living in the lap of luxury. Yep. Tennis courts, swimming pools. Unbelievable. Obama's 60th birthday party, no masks. Just, it goes on all weekend, milling about, Martha's Vineyard. Oh, and the cases went up. I guess it was a super spreader event. Will mainstream media report on that? The shortages, the video that I posted yesterday, well, more information. Now, wildland firefighters told to supply their own food and water over critical shortages for 3 days. The firefighters have to take with them 3 days of supplies, even communication equipment. I guess they just don't have the money to supply firefighters with food or communication equipment because all of our flippin' money is going to the elite. The military-industrial complex. This is, it is unbelievable. More videos about how empty this is Apache Junction, Arizona. Empty. And I got a lot of comments from you guys where you're living and noticing how empty everything is. Now, somebody posted a comment on the, where was it? Broward County, Florida. And this woman going through a Walmart and she was like, what is going on? Why is it so empty? And they said it was the commenter said it was preparation for a hurricane. Well, I don't know the date of that video, but I will tell you, this is not preparation for any hurricane. though you still have that hurricane sitting outside the west coast of Mexico. And yeah, that was the bizarre reporting on a hurricane that sat outside of Mexico off the coast for 5 days. This was years ago. 5 days. Now, that's not where hurricanes are, form, but hey, we'll go with it. And they said this hurricane was going to go through Mexico, go through Arizona, go through Utah, and then turn east and affect like 250 million Americans. And that's what mainstream media was reporting one day, and then the next day, it was gone. You didn't hear anything. So maybe in Apache Junction, Arizona, they were preparing for a hurricane. What's going on? Empty. Completely empty. So, here's another woman. And I'm not entirely sure where she is, but it's definitely a different area of the country, and she's pointing out the emptiness of the shelves in Walmart. It's not just food, but a whole lot of stuff. Mike Morales posted this. Birds dropping from the sky. Great. Well, he talks about electromagnetic warfare.
All right, guys, welcome in, welcome back. We've got some electronic warfare going on. And I've had both my computer's video cards have went out over the last 2 days. My old computer and then my other old computer. And I got online last night. There's a Best Buy about an hour and 45 minutes, 2 hours from me. They have no video cards in stock under $1,000. It's ridiculous. Every card is out of stock, even online. This is one way they're going to force everybody where you're not going to be able to communicate because you won't have a computer unless you take one of their, facial recognition crappy computer stuff, man.
And he's right. I've noticed the shortages over the years and not being able to, purchase what you need for, and again, when they decide, okay, Windows 7 obsolete, then you can't get, if you still have a Windows 7, you can't get things that you need for Windows 7 because it's obsolete. Video cards, very, very expensive, shortages. I think more and more people are going to find that when things blow, when things break down, they're just not going to be able to repair it. Monsoon alert, another interstate problem.
The I-17 in Greenway, where it's closed because we're seeing flooding there. Hi, Ty.
Good morning, you guys. Yeah, this unfortunately is an area that gets plagued all too often whenever we have a storm. We saw the same thing play out just Friday night when we had those storms move through, and again here this morning. So take a look behind me. You can see exactly what we're talking about. The entire underpass here of the I-17 right at Greenway completely flooded out. We are really starting to see these waters recede pretty quickly, actually, since the time that we have been here. But you can see at least 4 cars were trapped at one time underneath this underpass. ADOT just a few minutes ago was driving through the waters, pushing those cars to the other side there. So you see that van and then that sedan. And then there's one sedan that's still submerged in there. And just a few minutes ago, its windshield wipers were still going, but it looks like that car is now completely submerged and dead.
So what happens? All the truckers who now are either stalled somewhere, they can't get moving on interstates. This is happening all over the country. And don't think that, this water just hanging out here on the interstate is brought about naturally. It really is. These are all new. Vessel congestion at LA ports soars as more ships join queue. The products that we do have coming are just sitting there. World's third busiest port remains partially shut in China, stoking fresh supply chain fears. And the flooding is, it goes on and on. If you're not looking at local news, regardless of where you are, you don't know that this is taking place on a daily basis now. So this is not a Harvey flood, but it's a flood on the streets and the water just sitting there. Arizona, I have throughout the 12 years received comments from people who say that they live in the area that, the video, the area that is of subject in the video. I live here. This is normal. Got one of those for the monsoon rains in Arizona. But I also get comments from people who live in the area who say, I've never seen anything like this. This is not normal. And I think most people who understand that, yes, man is controlling and creating these floods and fires with the technology that they have. Many of you are writing in saying, no. What has happened before, the electromagnetic frequencies that you feel, what your skies are looking at, no, it's not normal. And here, so much damage. It's really remarkable.
The mayor of Gila Bend estimating $10 million in damages. And to give you an idea of how much damage we're talking, you can see here just this pile of debris. This is the location where people are clearing out their homes, bringing their trash. It's now just sitting here in this pile. Marco Vasquez trying to take us inside his property, barely able to open up.
Well, you guys are welcome to come in.
And we walk into mud taking over every corner. Marco sharing this video with us of the flooding from over the weekend. This as the floodwaters were already receding.
It was a flash flood, so it was like a river, and it had force. So even though this was all closed up, still it got in here and it was still moving.
In total, around 140 homes damaged and more than a dozen businesses. To give you an idea where this water came from, it actually came from the south down a wash, and you can see the damage that it's done to homes. You can see how the wall of this house is completely caved out.
There was people climbing on top of their roofs.
Heidi Engelking lives just down the road where behind this property you'll find cars that fell from a concrete slab into the wash before floating downstream.
We found our building materials from our backyard actually 3 miles down that we had brought over. So it's just complete disaster.
And on the other side of town, there are blocks and blocks of mud and debris. That's where we found Mayor Chris Rigg.
We're in desperate need of help at this point.
The mayor says the concern now is more storms expected this evening into tonight. He says this area is already so saturated and likely won't handle much more rain.
We are preparing for a possible emergency evacuation. If we see, we'll have boots on the ground here tonight and tomorrow to ensure that if they start seeing similar conditions, we will notify the people to evacuate the area.
The mayor.
So if anybody knows if this was posted yesterday, how is this area doing today? Homeland Security ignoring congressional requests for information on where the illegal immigrants are being sent. That's what we do here now. Ignore. A federal agency is ignoring congressional requests. Well, FOIA, everything is collapsing. Everything. Where are they being sent? They're being sent all over the United States. How do I know this? Because was it posted on this channel or Never Lose Truth that just came down on a senator in Texas wanting information from Homeland Security. Oh, he was ignored. About an airport in Abilene that was transporting illegal immigrants to Tennessee. Then Department of Defense had contracted with private busing companies to bus the illegal immigrants to southern states. You think it's just southern states? It's all over the country. And, of course, U.S. retail sales slump. People don't have money. Futures slide on growing lockdown fears ahead of retail sales. Miss. Ahead of the slump. A lockdown fear because retail sales are slumping. A lockdown fear because word gets out. This is coming. So, all I can say is prepare for anything because we are at war. If people would simply do some research to find out, or how about this? Pretend to be a mature, responsible adult and listen to the people in your life that actually are aware of what is going on because they have done research outside of mainstream media. Try to listen to them because they're telling you something that's really important for your own life. All right, most links will be below.